Hello, I'm Adam Keane and I'm a third year BSc Product Design student at Cardiff Metropolitan University. In this video, I'm going to be discussing some of the projects I've completed this year. So I'm going to be talking about my minor project, which was developing a plastic bottle alternative. I'm going to be talking about my 24-hour project with Safran, designing luxury aircraft seating. And I'm also going to be talking about my W2W Greyfox and Perch competition brief, which was designing collaborative furniture that fits into a circular economy. The brief for W2W was to design collaborative furniture in the work/learn space that fits into a circular economy. As you can see here, the concept that we decided to go for was looking at sculptural furniture and how we could make that fit into universities and inspire collaboration and creativity among students. Here you can see us delving into a more blue sky approach to the sculptural furniture. It wasn't completely commercially viable, however, it did give us a great idea about how and what type of collaborations could happen. You can see them, all the different people interacting on the furniture. And again, here looking more towards the sculptural furniture and those interactions happening again, breaking it down more into building blocks, and how that could start to become something more commercially viable for multiple different spaces, big or small. As we developed this building block, it became more of a pyramid, a steel pyramid frame, which would then slot together using clips, and the cushions would attach using magnets as well. And these are a few renders showing some potential outcomes, and this also shows the scalability of it and the individuality of the product as well. So this is around a medium size. You can get some larger ones as well for larger spaces, such as these, and then some small ones as well, which is individual seating, can fit one person on each. And this was the final presentation board for the product as well. In the bottom you can see an in situ showing people interacting on the furniture, some in a larger space. In the middle you can see a smaller arrangement of the product, and then on the top as well you can see another large one showing how versatile the product can be. The 24-hour Safran brief challenged us to design business class seating for an Airbus A350. Here you can see my group ideating straight away around post-it notes and different shapes and forms we could use. Once we were happy with a concept, we started measuring it out straight away using one of the seating areas in the studio. With this concept, we were really happy with the amount of space everyone had. Finn on the right is about 6'3", and he can comfortably lie down in the space we've given. This is another angle that can show the actual width of each cabin. We tapered it down towards the feet, and sitting the two users opposite each other maximises the amount of space for the shoulders. We developed this further and started to use the tape to actually mark out some different furniture in there, so like a desk or maybe a footstool or things like that. Other members of the group started looking into different materials and CMF design for the final design. And we also made a miniature model to scale just to show and experiment with different furnitures that could be included. You're now seeing a few renders of the final design, showing how the users have the option to have a slider up or down. Some different furnitures that we decided on putting in, and because it's a long haul flight, how the bed fills the space. We managed to hit the desired 26 people in the cabin, with the central rows having easy access with larger doors. This project is my minor project, which was to find a plastic bottle alternative. It started as a personal concern due to the shocking statistics that I found. These were statistics such as 19 tons of plastics are dumped in the ocean every minute, and only 10% of plastic bottles ever get recycled. And to put that in perspective, Coca-Cola alone produce over 110 billion throwaway plastic bottles every year. So my initial brief was to create an alternative solution that is a better environmental choice for customers and consumers than plastic bottles. I wanted to do some product testing, but considering we were in lockdown, the only things I could get my hands on were cans of Coke and also can of water. I chose these as they were already popular alternatives to plastic bottles. A few problems arose straight away. As I went to open one of the can of waters, the plastic tab making it resealable snapped off. I also wanted to investigate their mechanism, which was extremely difficult to remove from the can. However, due to the fact that aluminium is an infinitely recyclable material and far better for the environment than plastics, I decided to research into this a bit more. My primary research questionnaire was taken by 82 people, 65 of which said that they'd prefer to have a bottle rather than a can. After reviewing people's reasonings for purchasing the products, I realised that people who were buying plastic bottles were mainly doing it for a convenience factor, as they can reseal and drink the rest at a later time. Whereas people who were purchasing cans were doing it from an enjoyment point of view, as drinks seemed more refreshing and in their opinion tasted better. I then ideated and prototyped based around how I could get a can to be able to reseal. I 3D printed a thread and tested to see if a thread could actually be pressed and formed into the can walls. As you can see here, I'm just using the blunt edge and handle of a scalpel in order to press it into the thread. The results were really surprising, as it actually gave the can walls a lot of strength, and way more strength than you could ever imagine 0.2mm thick aluminium to have. After more researching and developing, I actually managed to develop this can into the current can production line. As you can see, after the can has gone through the drawing process and the necker machine, the thread would be formed into the can there. However, after re-evaluating the process, there's actually nothing wrong with how the main can body is made. So I decided to look more into the actual end, which basically renders it a single-use product or a reusable product. As current cans use a pull tab mechanism, that means that they can only be used once. However, you can see here the doubled over seam that cans actually use, as they're produced in two parts, the main body and the can end. So my new mission was to redesign the can end rather than the main body in order to make it a resealable, reusable product. I found and reused a tin that held hairstyling products, but it had a thread, an aluminium thread on it that I could reuse. I began playing around and prototyping with this thread and can idea. But this was really useful, as it actually gave me an initial insight into what the product could actually look like and potentially perform like as well. Here I'm actually putting the product through its initial testing, filling it up with water just to see how it handles it. There is a little bit of spillage, but I was actually really surprised with how well the thread actually held the water in, due to the fact that there was no glue at all or anything like that. It was purely friction holding it. So what you're looking at here is a few renders of the finished product. This render showing that it's actually still stackable, a solo one here, and then the next one showing that it's actually resealable as well, one with the lid off, one with the lid on. And this one showing the process of how the lid would be made, which is very similar to how the lids are made for glass wine bottles, whiskey bottles, things like that. And then this one showing the threads production line, so extruded, flanged at the bottom, and then the thread would be pressed into the aluminium, similar to how I prototyped it. The flange would then be bent over to join onto the can to make the double over seal. For the top of the product, I decided to make a little logo for it, as it's all well and good producing a recyclable product, but people might not actually know that it's recyclable. So this fact here is prompting people to recycle, but also educating them on the impact that they have, as recycling one can power their television for 3 hours. These were a few renders showing the can once it's branded up. I decided to pick brands such as the Coca-Cola brands like Oasis, Sprite and Coke, as they could make a huge difference if they were to transfer all their drinks over to this product. I also decided to show brands like Brecon Carreg and Tennent's Lager, as they're all aiming to be plastic free by 2025. I used brands such as Corona and Gordon's Pink Gin to show versatility in the product, as it can hold alcoholic beverages, soft beverages and water. Thank you for watching, and if you want to find out any more about my projects, you can find them on my Instagram page and my Behance page, which will be on the screen now. Thank you.